reverse order. Since we started this way, I'm going to come back the other direction. And Anku, some of us were here at the last WITA presentation in January where we talked about the different rules of origin, rules that might impact and how things might work. And Charles Ripken, the Assistant Secretary of State for the Bureau of Economic Business Affairs, spoke to us. And for those of you who were here, you may remember him talking about growing up on a farm and about being on a tractor and how this tractor, as they're going along, they had the equipment on it, whereas the speakers and the stereos were better than anything you've been. It was completely airtight. That the machine itself would tell it, whether or not you dropped an ear of corn when you're harvesting it. It's that technological. So I completely now have a greater understanding about what's going into the farming, the technology, and everything. And hearing you speak about being a software developer, I think it's very interesting. The other thing I thought was interesting is the point about being a financial services provider, and I'd like to kind of focus in on that for just a second. There's been some criticism, particularly of the TPP, with respect to the services sector and exclusions or inclusions under different conforming measures of the financial services. I was wondering if you can talk a little bit about how, as a manufacturer / financial services provider, how that's also impacting you.
Sure. So I mentioned earlier, TPP was a negotiation, and there's going to be give and take, and for the most part, I think we got a pretty good deal. The financial services piece, I think, again, many parts of it were quite robust. We were not thrilled with the fact that data protections were excluded for the financial services industry. That is certainly someplace, a piece that we think could have been strengthened. I know that there are a lot in that industry who are now very much engaged in finding ways to correct it, and we're interested to see where that goes. I'm no expert on how these things can be renegotiated or can be changed, and if there are any experts out there, I'd love to hear what you have to say. But certainly I think that is a piece that, data flows and protecting that is so important, but such an important part of data is the financial data. If you're going to sell something, that usually requires some financial data to be traded back and forth. And I do think that is a piece of, that could be improved upon, whether it's in TPP or in future agreements. I think we need to be very careful about not excluding such an important part of commercial data. I mean, it's part and parcel of it. So.
Thanks, and I think it's key that you link that any transactions involve money at some point. And so from a manufacturing standpoint, we've got to figure out how we're going to deal with that. Lisa, I'll go to you a little bit. You had talked about the importance of some of the level setting or the transparency that's going on with respect to the rules and regulations. Given the type of company that you are, which invests heavily in very extensive development of intellectual property, in particular in how you're going to drive new innovation. How is it that, can you expand a little bit more on where you see the pluses and how you see the provisions that are in the TPP with respect to criminalizing trade secrets or addressing some of the forced localization? How you see that's going to help from a manufacturer standpoint, particularly in the United States? How does that help people here, how the workers in the U.S.?
Absolutely. So forced localization has some obvious implications for those of us who want to manufacture here. If a country is going to require the creation of IP, which requires R&D, or a portion of a product to be manufactured in their country to then be able to be sold to their citizens and consumers, that poses some impossibilities for American manufacturers if we're not willing to go in and set up a facility within the borders of a country. And there was talk earlier about lots of reasons of why you manufacture where you do, and we believe that our facilities in Oregon and Arizona and California and New Mexico are the best places to manufacture our goods. So the hope that that TPP sends a message to countries that that's not the way to create competition and build a pipeline of skilled talent. There's lots of I feel like drivers for the government's wanting to do that. And those are the things that we want to go in and help them. Where we have a presence, where we sell into these countries, we want to help with training and helping them create talent where it originates, not kind of a forced talent or investment experience. That's on forced localization. One of the kind of reverse benefits for American manufacturers that we haven't talked a bit about is we import into our manufacturing processes and our sites in the United States from Vietnam. And right now we're paying higher tariffs on the materials that we import. And they're important to our US manufacturing. And so we will see a reduction in costs there. And that helps us justify continuing to grow our American manufacturing.
Great, thanks.